Hey everybody, Dev here, and I'm back with episode 2 of Fails of the Week. And as you can see here, one of the really weird things about this game is the trophy system. Here I won a defense and I managed to get 0 trophies out of it. Let's take a look. 0 trophies for a defense, even though I won. Seems strange. So here's my base, fairly common Town Hall 11 type base. And the reason I have this base is so that people can attack me, so that I can figure out the best way to attack bases I find when I raid. This person's using a Laloon. We are in the middle of a Laloon event, and this guy's got troops very similar to what Omega Supreme has in terms of Laloon. A level 2 Hound, quite a few loons in there, and very low heroes. So they do a decent job in going for the core, but then again you can see I've got a baby dragon and a big dragon in there. That tends to work really well against Laloons, particularly because they don't tend to take poison and deal with it during raids. So if you're looking to defend against Laloons, that could be the way to go. So I managed to take out my Eagle Artillery, but the way I had my defenses stacked up meant that everything else was drawn off course. And you can see that now all we got left is a bit of cleanup. So there's the heroes coming in. Baby dragon goes down, but Mama dragon's still there. She's a bit upset, not raging of course. And now she's dead. Moving in with the queen. And down here we've got another archer, still to deploy his king. But as I said, the trophy system seems really strange. This person ended up losing, but only losing 1 trophy, and I didn't gain anything. So I'm not quite sure how that worked. Maybe because I'm in Titans 1 and he was in Champs 2. Maybe because he was a Town Hall 9 and I'm Town Hall 11. I'm not sure. And yeah, it just seems quite strange. But then again, it's the way this game goes. Alright, luckily I got 1 step closer to being unbreakable. So here you go, break it down. 0 for me and -1 for him. Strange. Okay, now the next lot of fails we're going to look at is a recap of the war that we were just involved in. Unfortunately, we didn't end up pulling out the win. But again, there are always things you can learn from, and so we are going to look at some of the enemy team attacks. In particular, I'm going to go number 20 versus Sly here. Now this clan that we were against were heavily engineered, okay, to the extreme. And here is Sly's base. And this is a featured in my channel before, so obviously this person is not a subscriber. By the way, I recommend you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, get those views of mine up, please. Thank you very much. So the CC draw didn't quite work with their hogs, and then dragging the rest of the archers out with some and then trying to poison them with the king. But there's still plenty of troops in that CC that haven't been deployed yet, and that Tesla farmer is really doing a number on the king and the barbs there. So this person managed to draw almost the rest out, sort of doing it in stages now. That's the last, that's the last of the archers, I think. And then decides to go in with a unconventional miner attack. Now, I have not seen miners in months. Not in Titans, not in Champs, not at Town Hall 11, not at Town Hall 10, except for this one. And really, this base could have been rolled with Valks, could have been rolled with dragons if you were good. There goes the rest of the CC. There's a wizard there and a baby dragon. And the miners, of course, have got no chance against a baby dragon, even though they do pop down and they get healed and all that sort of malarkey. It just is too little too late, and this person was very slow on their heals. Still got 3 heals in the tank, but I think they've realised they're not really going to get anywhere. Oh no, they've dropped one up on the miners that split off into that group there. And I guess they were hoping for a star. I'm not sure what they were trying to do here, trying to loot. Maybe they were trying to practice. Oh look, surprise Tesla down there. But all in all, a defensive win in the war for Sly, which was quite interesting. Again, maybe the miners will get a boost in the next update. Maybe they won't. I'm just not seeing them. If you're seeing them, please let me know and show me a replay if you can. Okay, moving on. Here's another defense, and this time was against myself. One of the very rare occasions that I was in a war. Even rarer still that I managed to get a defense. Here is again, I'd like to say a fairly common base design at Town Hall 11. Inverted, some of them go, reflected on the y-axis here. This one is a Valk attack. And here's the CC radius. They're starting by chipping away with some minions over here on the eastern side. And the bulk of this attack was focused towards the town hall, I suppose. They were trying to go for a 2-star. And bowlers to start off with some healers. That was quite common in this war. They did a good job. Probably a little bit inefficient in this particular case. And a queen walk, again picking the weakest of the defences to start the walk, which was good. Unfortunately, no wall breakers to drive that queen in to get to that artillery. Now the artillery fires up and starts taking pot shots, and obviously aiming for that mass of Valkyries in there. Now the Valks have bored their way through the wall, and the bowlers are still in tow, so maybe they're going to get close. Jump spell to get over those heavy duty walls. A few bombs, and the rest of my CC troops come out. And all of my CC troops come out. A premature freeze because the minions and the baby dragon that didn't get into that poison, get stuck in that poison with the freeze, will end up destroying his army. And the jump spell wasn't able to penetrate to that ring around the town hall. If they had, just pausing it here, if instead of being centered here, if it was centered possibly there, you might have just clipped the edge of this wall here and clipped the edge of that wall there. So that could have been a bit more interesting if they'd done that. Under pressure, of course, what are you going to do? And all that's left now is just to watch the queen against the baby dragon. You can see that she gets raged up and does a pretty good job in holding off my CC troops. And my sweeper does nothing now against the rest of it. So we'll speed up. She manages to get in there and then dies horribly with the hidden Tesla popping up and the rest of my defenses. And then it was a vain attempt to try and grab a star by dropping some archers. 44% with a couple of archers left. Not many options, good options here in this case. Taking out the army camp, hoping they'd go into that other army camp here, but no. And this person, number 3, instead of going for a 2-star, they end up walking away with 0 stars. A little bit of loot. Alrighty, and the last one was their number 1. It's always good when number 1 can hold off number 1. It usually puts your clan in good stead. Looking at the army composition of this guy, bigger heroes. This time they're going with a bit of a bowler, starting off, trying to clear some defenses away for, it looks like, a concerted Laloon strike. So again, here's my CC radius. Again, using minions over here to chip away at the buildings, just to try and get that funnel correct. Looking around the base, nothing else going on. Watching those minions do their thing, which is cool. The range on that Wizard Tower Grand Warden is quite impressive. At 16, they're almost as powerful as a Max Archer Tower, which is quite cool. A level, 12, 13? Pretty strong anyway. Alright, so the heroes are going in, and I suppose the intention was to bring down this air defense and this air defense. My CC troops come out. He's got no poison left for some reason. He's dropped it up here. Trying to keep everyone in that poison, which is alright. I mean, the minions end up going down. The baby dragon stays alive for a little bit, does some damage, but it's that archer tower that's really pounding away on that queen. She goes for the CC, pops the ability, mortar crushes those archers, and then my queen jumps in and slaughters her opponent. Okay, the last of those bowlers have gone down. Now it's time for the Laloon section. Dropping a haste, trying to get that hound right across into the pathway and tanking for the loons that are coming through, but I think those it didn't have enough haste or enough rage in there. And now the loons are left all by themselves at the mercy of those sweepers, just pushing everything back, freezes off the eagle artillery, freezes those expos, but once they come back online, it ends up being a matter of shooting down as many of them as you can. I imagine the gunners in those expos would have been thinking it was shades of World War II or London Blitz or something, I don't know, but no, they didn't use, well, I suppose they did. Anyways, Eagle Artillery finishes off, and what we've got left now is, what have we got, another archer or 2 left. I can't really see them right now, nothing's really happening. Yeah, there we go. pretty good defense, pretty hearty, and of course a fail from their number one. Alright. Now we go to the current war for the final fail of the video. And their number 2 versus our number 2 Rio. Town Hall 10, ring style base. Here's the CC, going in with a Valk strike. Starting off with some golems on the 2 corners, that's a bit of a mistake. With these bases, generally you want to clear the corners with a queen walk, and then over here with some other troops, possibly bowlers and jump, possibly giants and wizards, and then try and drive your Valks and herd them by taking out their targets to the sides of them so they keep going forward, similar to how you would handle bowlers. So the golems are in there, and the wall breakers are dead. Okay, they didn't end up doing their job, so that's another fail there. And the fact that he's got his troops spread across 2 different flanks here is a bit of a concern, especially since he deploys his Valks here, and they end up splitting into 2 groups at the start anyway. He would have been much more happy if they'd stayed together as a pack, and indeed they have. Outcome the well, there goes the rage, the first rage. There goes a jump to get in. We've got the Inferno Towers going to town, but it is the baby dragon that is sitting there and just pounding away. He dropped a heal spell, but of course the Inferno's block healing effect, so that baby dragon essentially had a license to roast those Valkyries. And they've gone down pretty quickly. Would have been a good opportunity for him to drop a rage instead of that heal in the core to penetrate and take out that town hall and some of those Infernos, and we'd be looking at a 2-star attack rather than a 0-star. So all he's got left is his bowlers and the CC. And he finally decides to use his rage, trying to get the percentage up, but the baby dragon ends up being just far too strong. Right, I've got a couple minutes left. Tell you what, I'll show you the fail that Omega Supreme, well I wouldn't really call it a fail, but the less than 3-star attack that Omega Supreme had. And again, a very tricky base to take out with Valks. The best idea was to clear this with a queen, get the hogs in before the mortar drops so that they would go to the wizard tower, clear out these buildings with the giants and wizards, and then drive Valks in through here with some jumps. No rages because the walls are too small. The Valks would end up scattering. So let's start her off. And I'll go 2 times because you can see what's happening because it's fairly slow-mo anyway. Queen goes in, and here I send in my 2 hogs. I would have been better to send 3 hogs, apparently, because the first hog gets there and only deploys a few of the archers. So a 3rd hog would have been, or even a 4th hog would have been the way to go. So we end up having a pretty rough time of it. Giants and wizards go down in there. And the queen does an okay job in starting the walk, but now the real issue is how to draw out the CC, so I decided to send in a few Valks to try and cross that line. End up happening archers and loons and baby dragon. My poisons were intended to be dropped as soon as they engaged onto the queen. I would have been better off dropping them a little earlier. The baby dragon has escaped that poison radius and takes out my the healers. Okay, the queen with no ability left, she's in pretty much she's in real trouble. Valkyries jump through, and the second jump to try and guide them on their way, trying to keep them away from that baby dragon so that my wizards that are sneaking up the left-hand side end up doing their job, but they don't. So I'm going to speed up. The baby dragon ends up following the Valkyries, and there isn't really anything I can do other than trying to get the percentage up. So yeah, okay, all in all, without being too harsh on myself, that was a fail. I really should have rolled that base, but I didn't, and those are the reasons why. Okay. So I hope you've enjoyed these fails of the week. Again, I look to do this on a regular basis, and as long as you're learning something from it, it isn't really a fail, is it? So all that's left for me to do is do my obligatory like, share, subscribe, comment, and as always, Dev out.